Hi, I'm Ollie Mitchell, and this is the first in a series of tutorials on Figure 53's QLab. QLab provides live show control and is a must-have piece of software for anyone who runs the tech for live performances, as well as having many other uses such as churches, museums, and store displays. In these tutorials, we're going to assume that you're working in a theatre, but everything you learn can be applied to anywhere. In its very basic form, QLab allows you to create sequences of audio and video cues to play at any time. However, when you dig down deeper, there is so much more that it can do to enhance the way that you run your shows. Not only will it allow you to do the things that you already do in a much more simple way, but it will also open doors to trying out new creative things that you could only dream of before. How do you currently run sound effects for your shows? Maybe you use a CD player. What happens if you want to play more than one sound effect at once? You need one CD player for each sound effect, not to mention a spare finger for each one so that you can press play on them all at the same time. With QLab, you can play many sound effects all at once and in any order, simply at the press of a button. What do you do if you want to use projections in your show? Do you use a laptop running PowerPoint or Keynote? Using QLab, you'd have a lot more flexibility. Firstly, you can run the sound and video from one computer, which makes things simpler and means you only need one operator. Also, you can easily crossfade between lots of different media formats, which may not necessarily be supported in PowerPoint, even live video feeds if you want. The great thing about QLab is how affordable it is. If you only want the very basic features, it's completely free. There are then 5 other licenses available to you: Basic Audio, Pro Audio, Basic Video, Pro Video, and Pro Bundle, which has all of the available features. For more information about what's included in each package, see Figure 53's website. Each license is available to purchase, but they are also available to rent. Ranging from $3 to $7 per day, you really don't have an excuse to not try it out for your next show. All of their prices are in dollars, but you're still able to purchase and use the software here in the UK or anywhere in the world. It's also worth noting that they have an educational discount, so if you're a part of an educational institution, you should look into that before making a purchase. Right, so let's dive in and have a look at the interface. When you first open up QLab, this is what you'll see. I think it's a good idea straight away to add a few things to your interface. Go up to View and click Toolbox to open up the Toolbox panel. Now go to View again and open up the Cue Lists and Active Cues panel. So, in the top left hand corner, you can see the Go button. This button controls your entire cue list. By default, the spacebar also acts as a Go button. On the left hand side, in the toolbox, you have all of the different types of cue available to you. These icons at the top do the same thing, but as we're beginners, we'll leave the toolbox up so that you know what everything does. On the right here, we have our cue lists. This enables you to have more than one list which you can switch between. Then, if you open the Active Cues tab, this will show you everything that's currently active. Finally, at the bottom, you have the Inspector. It is here that you can access all of the properties for each cue in your cue list. So let's go into the settings just to make sure everything's set up correctly. Click on the cog in the bottom right hand corner to open up the settings. This is the General Settings tab. We're not going to worry too much about this right now. Just make sure that you have the same settings as me, which you should have if you've never used the software before. The only thing we're going to change is to tick the Enable Auto Load for New Cues box. What this means is that as you go through your cue list, QLab will automatically prepare the cue that is up next. So when you click on a cue, an audio file for example, it will start instantly instead of having to pause for a moment to load up the track. In the Key Map section, you can choose which keys act as shortcuts for certain functions. I'm going to leave them as the default, but you can play around with this to suit you. When you are done, click the Done button in the bottom right hand corner to go back to the main window. That concludes the introduction to our QLab tutorials. You're now ready to start using QLab, so head over to the other tutorial videos to start. I would recommend that you work through the videos in order, as some things may not make sense if you haven't done the earlier tutorials. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.